Up next on the scene at 10, a controversial Bowling Green proposal has police up in arms. Tennessee State University will keep its president for 2 more years. We'll look at some surprising statistics involving college rapes as we continue our series Sex on Campus. And we'll look at one of the more unusual attempts to get into the Guinness Book of World Records.
These stories and more news coming up next on the scene at 10.
At Furniture Center, we're famous for our selection and our super prices. And during our 40th anniversary sale, you can save over $300 on this comfortable 3-piece sectional from People Lounger. Features Herculon fabric for longer-lasting beauty and 2 built-in incliners for extra relaxation. You get the Cadillac of motion furniture. All 3 pieces for just $10.97. Now, even at these prices, you get free delivery, 6 ways to pay, and our lowest price guarantee. So come see us.
Dad, help me get in shape. I feel like I've lost the edge.
You've lost the edge?
Everybody's got a diet right. It doesn't matter who you are. It's gonna be a tough fight. So give yourself the greatest taste.
I bet you didn't know that Diet Rite has no salt. Technically speaking, Dad, it's sodium. I've been avoiding salt myself for 4 or 5 years now. Furthermore, I like the way Diet Rite.
Have you driven a Ford?
I like the Ford Taurus so well that we bought 7 of them for our business. We looked at several of the competitive cars. However, we selected the Ford Taurus because of the quality of the Ford Motor Company and the image of the Ford Taurus. And that's the image we wanted to portray.
Test drive the affordable Ford Taurus at your Ford dealer today.
If you look good, you're going to sell a lot of product, and we feel like we look good in the Ford Taurus.
WSMV, Nashville. From Channel 4 News, this is The Scene at 10 with Demetria Kalodimos, Phil Hall, and Rudy Kalas.
Good evening. A group of Bowling Green policemen is threatening to take the city to court over a plan to cut officers' pay. Tonight, Bowling Green City Commission voted to increase salaries for nearly half the fire department while taking away money from 16 police officers. Karen Connolly has more.
This had looked like a good year for the Bowling Green Police Department. In July, the City Commission adopted a new pay plan, giving police sergeants and captains an annual raise of about $2,000.
We just simply want to maintain what we've gained at this particular point for the advancement of the police department, but also for the individual officers.
But firefighters of the same rank didn't get an equal raise. They were angry, saying fire officers deserve as much money as police officers.
Personally, I think this should be even. I think all the men in the department think that. And it has been in the past, and all we want is just a fair shake.
Motion made, seconded. Is there discussion?
After months of grumbling, the issue came back to the City Commission. On the table, a motion cutting some police salaries by about $2,000 a year.
I think it's ill-conceived, I think it's illegal, and I think it's immoral.
Jim Lucas represents the 16 police officers who are threatening to sue the city. Lucas told commissioners the plan to cut salaries is illegal. He suggested they weren't acting to save money.
In my judgment, that would be awfully poor money to pay to get the discontent, the disharmony, and the loss of morale throughout the entire police department.
But without any discussion, commissioners voted unanimously to cut police salaries and raise pay for 46 firefighters, a move that will cost the city $75,000. Police officers and their wives were angry as they left the meeting.
Motion made and seconded. For any discussion?
Commissioners must vote on the pay plan one more time before it becomes final. If they do that, Lucas says he will file suit the next day.
We will ask that the finance department of the city be enjoined from enforcing the ordinance immediately. We will ask that the old budget ordinance be readopted and put in its place or enforced by the court, and then we will seek some monetary damages for the pain, suffering, and humiliation that the officers have sustained.
Police officers may be asking for damages totaling $500,000. In Bowling Green, Karen Conley, Channel 4 News.
Tennessee State University's interim president will continue to oversee the university at least until 1988. State Board of Regents Chancellor Tom Garland said today that Dr. Otis Floyd's appointment has been extended since the search for a permanent president has stopped for the present. Floyd will be given an opportunity to place himself before the search committee as a candidate for the spot. Garland has praised Floyd for his leadership as interim president during the last year and a half.
No one should place too much emphasis on the word interim when Dr. Floyd is concerned. He is the president of Tennessee State University. He is an interim president, but he has full authority, and he will so act.
Although some good candidates for the president's chair at TSU have surfaced, the advisory search committee had recommended that Garland retain Floyd as interim president for a while longer. The Public Service Commission took another step in trying to rid the highways of unsafe trucks and drivers today. The PSC says it will stiffen fines for drivers who use drugs and alcohol while behind the wheel. One of several steps officials say is making Tennessee a leader in highway truck safety. Al Tompkins has more in this report.
Okay, let's flip it up, all the way up. Oh.
This is what the Public Service Commission is after, drugs in the cabs of big trucks. In the first 6 months of this year, PSC officers have made 233 drug cases in Tennessee. They have made almost 250 alcohol seizures this year. The average fine, $50. The fines are so low, PSC officials say, that they are no deterrent at all.
Our current statutes are very ambiguous. They allow from a $25 to $500 fine, and we have a lot of inconsistency among the judges across the state. For an example, one judge will assess a $25 fine for a drug violation, and yet in another county, this has been as much as $2,000.
Commissioners voted tentatively to raise fines for drug and alcohol possession from the current $50 to $500. One of the biggest problems with truck safety experts say is driver fatigue. Logbooks are supposed to monitor how many hours a driver has been on the road, but inspectors say logbooks are frequently works of fiction. PSC commissioners voted to raise fines for logbook cheaters from $50 now up to $500.
We have no real disagreement with the higher fines.
Bob Pitts is a lobbyist for Tennessee truckers. He wants to be certain that those big fines are not imposed for nitpicking violations. Truck inspectors say the tougher enforcement is paying off. Since Tennessee got tough with unsafe trucks, truck accidents are down 28% from last year. And Tennessee truck fatalities have dropped, down 36%, while truck fatalities nationwide continued to rise. And in Washington, by late next month, both the House and Senate may vote on a national truck safety bill. It will make it more difficult to get a trucker's license and more difficult to hide unsafe driving convictions on multiple truck drivers' licenses. Al Tompkins, Channel 4 News.
With no debate, the Metro Council tonight agreed to pay $30,000 to a woman taken to probate Judge Jim Everett's condominium for interrogation by 2 sheriff's deputies. Ellery Connard had filed suit in federal court alleging Everett, the deputies, and others violated her constitutional rights when she was taken from her home and questioned about a child custody case. Tonight's action settles the claim against the 2 deputies, who officials say were following overly broad search warrants issued by Everett. The judge and other defendants in the lawsuit have agreed to settle the case out of court, although the total cash award Connard will receive has not been publicly disclosed. Rescuers are continuing their search tonight for more than 150 miners still trapped in a South African gold mine. Officials now say there's little hope of finding them alive and say the trapped workers may have been overcome by toxic fumes. 44 miners were killed and more than 180 injured after a welding accident touched off a fire in one of the shafts. Officials say it's the worst mining disaster since a gas explosion killed 68 South African miners in 1983. The U.S. government tonight is questioning the authenticity of a letter supposedly written by one of the hostages in Beirut. The letter was said to be written by David Jacobson and is critical of U.S. hostage policies. White House spokesman Larry Speaks says there is good reason to question if the letter really represents the views of Jacobson. The letter reportedly contains several misspelled words and grammatical errors. But Jacobson's son says he knows his father is angry about inconsistencies in U.S. policy.
I know he's extremely angry. He says that in the last videotape. He says that in his letters. Father Jenko has relayed that to me. And it's understandable. We saw TWA resolved in a matter of weeks. We saw Mr. Danilov's problem resolved in a matter of days. We want to see my father and the others out in a matter of days.
The letter was delivered early today to a Western news agency in Beirut.
The position we take is that nothing happened with involving Mr. Garrett.
Hiya, Cookie. You say you took those ordinary pork and beans to the Memorial Day picnic, and you got enough leftovers to last through Labor Day. Is that what's wrong, Cookie? Well, here's a name you need to know. Van Camp's Pork and Beans. Van Camp's extraordinary beans and savory tomato sauce are so delicious, you'll never give up, never give up, never give up. The great taste of Van Camp's. The first name in beans.
Let's pretend you're a burger. First, we'll stick you in a box and put you under a heat lamp. Now, wouldn't you rather be a Burrito Supreme from Taco Bell? It's made with only fresh ingredients and only after you order it, so it never sits around like some burgers. Taco Bell, the cure for the common meal.
Now get a Burrito Supreme, regular taco, and medium drink for just $2.29, only at Taco Bell.
National finals of the TNT All-American Pulling Series. Pure power.
What does it take to make it to the new Hollywood Square?
Well, that's such a silly question, John.
Is it a quick wit?
I gotta be on the set in December. Hurry up.
Is it a sharp mind?
Thank you, little Richard. You just got it.
Or is it a great body?
What is hippophobia?
See what it takes to bring in big laughs on the new Hollywood Square. Wednesday at 4:30.
A Nashville man dubbed the airport rapist by police faces enough charges to keep him in prison for almost 400 years if he's found guilty. Gary Wayne Garrett is on trial in Nashville, charged with raping several women living in the Dadds Avenue, Pamela Drive area of Nashville during the summer of 1985. During testimony today, one victim told of being awakened in her home by Garrett, who pointed a gun at her head and raped her. None of the victims can visually identify their attacker, but the district attorney says that won't hurt the case.
Well, obviously, it would be better when you're dealing with 5 victims and none of them can identify the defendant. It would obviously be better if they could, but I don't feel that's unusual.
The position we take is that nothing happened with involving Mr. Garrett, and as stated in opening argument, the alibi should substantiate that clearly.
Garrett will take the stand in his own defense later this week. His attorney says Garrett has nothing to hide. The case is expected to go to the jury by the end of this week. Accused Russian spy Gennady Zakharov told reporters today that he was set up by the FBI when he was arrested for espionage. Zakharov says he was doing research with a Queens College student. The student gave him a package with top-secret information in it, and then the FBI arrested him. He says the setup was to undercut relations between the two superpowers. Zakharov has to report to U.S. Marshals daily and is required to stay within a 25-mile radius of the United Nations. Zakharov was released last week as part of a deal to release Soviet-held Nicholas Danilov. But Zakharov denies any connection between the two situations. But the Danilov-Zakharov situation has created tension in the United States, and it increased today with the arrival of Soviet Foreign Minister Edward Shevardnadze. He and Secretary of State George Shultz are scheduled to begin pre-summit talks this Friday. But Shultz says the meeting will be marred by the hostage situation of Danilov. Shultz says he will top the agenda with Danilov, and arms control will take a back seat until Danilov is freed. Danilov faces charges of espionage in the Soviet Union. Joseph Kennedy II, son of the late Senator Robert Kennedy, tonight won the Democratic nomination for retiring House Speaker Tip O'Neill's congressional seat. Kennedy led the Massachusetts primary from the start and defeated 10 other candidates in the field. The young Kennedy told supporters tonight that the time is right for a new generation of politics.
The fact of the matter is that what we've got to do and recognize is a new generation of Americans.
is that it's about time that we stop passing on our debts to our children.
The Massachusetts congressional seat Kennedy is seeking launched the political career of his uncle, President John F. Kennedy. Philippine President Corazon Aquino today began her first round of meetings with U.S. bankers. Aquino is in the U.S. meeting with financial consultants to discuss ways to pull her country's new democracy out of the economic hole it inherited when she took office. She also took time today to attend a mass for Filipino Americans at the National Shrine in Washington. There, she said the Philippines became a democracy, the country gained more than freedom.
But the real prize was the reaffirmation of our faith, the demonstration of its power. The Filipino raised his head and turned a new face to the world, the face of faith and courage.
Aquino will spend 7 more days here and will meet with President Reagan during the trip. Still ahead tonight, we'll have a talk with Vanderbilt coach Watson Brown's brother about the upcoming coaching duel between the two. And we'll look at how many college co-eds are raped at a time when they feel relatively safe.
Open a McDonald's Tinosaurs Happy Meal and your imagination opens a magical doorway to the Isle of Tiny.
Where everything's possible.
Floating between here and there in the sea of neverwhere, you'll find the Isle of Tiny, home of the dinosaurs.
You can discover all 8 delightful Tinosaurs at McDonald's.
One in every Happy Meal.
Each from the Isle of Tiny, where everything's possible.
A good time for the great taste of McDonald's.
And now, 30 seconds of common sense. Should you buy a new car or throw more money into the old keeper? Well, you can get a brand new Hyundai XL, thoroughly equipped for $49.95. Or you can keep throwing good money after bad. I suggest that you rush to your Hyundai dealer, if your car will start.
Test drive an XL at Hayes Hyundai in Nashville. We sell cars that make sense. So hurry.
You're so lucky. Fuzzy, you gotta know I hit it off that tree on purpose.
Yeah, but you sank it.
I know.
I suppose you also know about Amico Ultimate.
Nope. My car knows.
New Amico Ultimate Premium, the engine cleaning gasoline for pure power and performance. Your car knows.
It was luck.
Skill.
Come on, Trevino.
How about a miracle?
A miracle?
New Amico Ultimate, your car knows.
Are you looking for a unique gift for that someone special? Bush Jewelers has a complete line of diamonds, gold, and pearls at tremendous savings.
The quality and beauty of these half-carat fancy-cut solitaires at the reference price of $1,625 are now an exceptional value at $975. Always substantial savings at Bush Jewelers.
Treat that special someone to the luxury of a gift from Bush Jewelers at a price you can afford. Bush Jewelers, City Square, Hendersonville.
There are a lot of ways to make it into the Guinness Book of World Records. Some of the feats you must perform are pretty amazing, but some are just plain bizarre. Take, for example, a British man who today set a record for staying in a tub of baked beans the longest. 31-year-old Barry Kirk managed to stay in the tub for 100 hours. The previous record was only 72 hours. After it ended, Kirk called the dubious endurance record horrible and slimy and said he never wants to see a baked bean again, which is understandable. Ooh, what possesses someone?
Well, excitement, nothing like a little Van Camps under the arms, come on. That's
and
terrible.
The old record was 72 hours. There are 2 of these people.
They're out there running loose. Oh, that's terrible.
At least they're overseas.
You must get an unusual kind of gas doing that, don't you?
Have you ever had the desire to set any sort of record?
Well, I'm going to wait till the laughing dies down there. What?
Dan.
Well, but that's what a lot of people are at home thinking. What did you say?
Forget it. You topped that.
Okay. Let's do the potato salad record for next time. I'd like that.
Yeah, I think we should try it.
Okay.
They're giving you the
All right.
the stats
When the
here.
lights come up and the stats come on, it's time to get out of the beans and move on. Low 67, the high 85 degrees. The air quality reading good at 36, while the pollen extra heavy for ragweed at 31. And for the precipitation drive for the day, we're 1789 below normal for this day of the year. And right now at the National Weather Service, we have partly cloudy skies. The temperature is 70. The winds are northeast at 8, and the pressure 30-22 rising, and the relative humidity is up to 84%. And the weather bank stations this evening showing lots of 60s around the region, although southernmost stations still into the 70s at this hour. Out into the mid-Atlantic Ocean, this is Hurricane Earl, and at this time, Earl is 880 miles southeast of Bermuda, and although the winds have died down to about 75 miles per hour, the direction, well, it has done it again. It's headed back toward the mainland to some degree, so I suppose that amounts to some running around in circles for Earl, but it does appear that eventually with the frontal system heading this way, it will take off more toward the center of the ocean and only be affecting vessels out that direction. For the southeast tonight, just a few thunderstorms in the deep south, although storm activity continues over parts of Missouri and Arkansas over into the river valleys, really quite clear in our mid-south region. It is out here where the low resides, and as a result, all these are pretty intense storm areas. The eastern half of the country from the Mississippi on, quite clear this evening, and then from the mountains on to the west, things are fairly clear with the exception of the northwest, where there are a few showers along the coast. You can tell the red and the blue for the heaviest storms through here, and although things are dry on up into the northeast. The temperature is still holding up into the 70s and 60s for the northern two-thirds of the country, but down to 48 already in Detroit, 44 in Buffalo, and into the 50s. All this area over here is being affected by the high-pressure system down out of Canada, and what that means is the possibility of frost down into New York tonight. Frost and freeze warnings in effect already. This frontal system is the one helping with the storms down here and out this direction. This is a severe thunderstorm watch in effect for another hour or so. Flash flood warnings for parts of Oklahoma and Kansas this evening. The range went from 25 to 102 from Truckee to Laredo today. For tomorrow morning, we'll look for the temps to run 60s in the mid-south. And as this system may very well go warm, it'll help with more storms through the central part of the U.S., while the temperatures will be in the 80s. Channel 4 color radar scan for right now. Whoa, 67 degrees and clear. Here's the forecast for tonight. Mostly clear and 63. For tomorrow, mostly sunny and an isolated afternoon thunder shower and 86. 65 overnight. On the 5-day, look for lots of sunshine through the weekend now. Tomorrow, about one of the few chances for an afternoon storm, but 60s for the lows, right into the mid-80s for the highs, and tomorrow morning about 7:30, we'll look for mostly clear skies, mostly sunny, and 65.
All looks good.
You got to watch out for that spinning radar, don't you?
It can knock you right out of the picture.
Sure can.
Thank you, Dan. We'll be back after this.
Time's running out for a great yes deal at your Nissan dealer. But you can still hear, yes, what a deal. But only until October 2nd.
Can I still get 5.7 financing?
You got it, on every new truck.
Suppose I want $500 cash back.
Your choice, but only till October 2nd. Your Nissan dealer is still making yes deals on Stanzas and Sentras, too.
Can I still get a yes deal on this 300ZX?
It's yours. But hurry, because yes deals end October 2nd. The name is Nissan.
Handling information quickly and accurately is more than just important. It can be vital. That's why South Central Bell is working with hospitals, providing them custom-designed communication services, allowing them fast, accurate access to medical records and data, creating a unique network of people and technology. For the right answers to your communications needs, there's one name you need to remember. South Central Bell. Call on us.
Step right up and see the biggest show on the Midway.
When you're choosing a bank, you'll hear a lot of shouting, a lot of promises. But the right place isn't necessarily the bank that shouts the loudest. It's the bank that's willing to listen. And First American wants to listen to you, to hear your plans, to understand your needs. Because at First American, what comes first in banking is people. What comes first is you. First American.
Jack's in for a big surprise when he takes a part-time job as a model. Don't miss the fun on Three's Company, tonight at 10:30, right after the scene at 10, here on Channel 4.
Time for sports with Rudy Kalas. How can you top Dan? I don't know.
I don't know. Put some whipped cream and a cherry on, maybe. That's the only way you can top them.
And sit in it for 100 hours.
Sit in it for 100 hours. All right, this is interesting, well, because of the things that are going to happen this week and are happening already. Like a lot of interested football fans, I think I'm looking forward to this Saturday when the family blood runs pretty thick at Vanderbilt's Dudley Field. Commodore Coach Watson Brown will be guiding his troops against those of a fella he knows very well. Robin Roberts has the story from New Orleans, Louisiana.
Most college football coaches cannot wait for Saturday to roll around. That's when they'll show the enemy a thing or two. Yeah, really show the other coach who's boss. Well, Tulane's Mack Brown and Vanderbilt's Watson Brown both hope this Saturday never arrives. Oh, you notice they have the same last name, that they look a great deal alike. There's a very good reason for that, folks. They're brothers. And younger brother Mack is not looking forward to meeting his big brother's team Saturday night at Dudley Field.
No, I talked to him about it today, and I think we're going to have to play. I mean, it looks like it this weekend. We were going to try to do it on Friday and just have everybody up there for a big party, but nobody go for that. So I don't think Coach Kramer was into that too much. So I think, Robin, again, I think in talking to the Dooleys and the Elliots and people who have played that brother against brother in the past, that after the first one, everything kind of settles back down, and it does go back to just the Vanderbilt-Tulane game like it should be.
I'm not looking forward to it, but at the same time, I am looking forward to the game. I want to go play somebody at home and see if we can get better and play a good team and see if we can win one. I think that's overshadowing the brother part for me.
Brother, not only do they look alike, they sound alike too, don't they? Now you may be thinking that Mack and Watson competed against each other when they were growing up in Cookeville. Not so. They played on the same basketball, football, and Little League teams, and even were together at Vanderbilt for a while until Mack transferred to Florida State. Does it help a coach to know what the opposing coach is most likely thinking?
No, I really don't. In fact, it could be a disadvantage because you could try to outthink the other guy because you know too much about the other side. And I think that there's one great thing about college football. It's played by the players. And the way that your players react on a certain Saturday to changing situations during the game means whether you win or lose. And it has absolutely nothing to do with the coaches. I think the coaches get way too much credit and entirely too much criticism.
Pull his knees in, he goes to the ground. The Brown brothers have termed their upcoming meeting as a no-win situation, but they both sure could use a win right about now. Whether they like it or not, one brother is going to provide the other with that all-important first win of the '86 season, unless, of course, the game ends in a tie, in which case it truly would be a no-win situation. Reporting from the Tulane campus in New Orleans, Robin Roberts, Channel 4 Sports.
And tomorrow night at 6 o'clock, if everything goes well, we'll have both Watson and Mack Brown with us live. Mack will be down in New Orleans, talk with us. Watson will be at Vanderbilt, talk with us. We may even have them talk to each other. We'll try that if everything goes well tomorrow night at 6 o'clock, talking about Saturday's football game. Other football news, the Tennessee Vols have dropped out of the top 20 in this week's college football polls. It's very similar in both polls. Here's the Associated Press. Oklahoma's on top, followed by Miami, Michigan, Alabama, and Penn State. After that, Nebraska, Washington, LSU, Baylor, and Auburn. Then Brigham Young, Arkansas, Florida, Georgia, and Florida State, followed by Texas A&M, Arizona, Arizona State, UCLA, and finally Notre Dame. And despite the loss, Notre Dame moves up into the top 20. And in the baseball key game, Mets have not clinched as yet. They're leading St. Louis. Philadelphia won, so the magic number will still be 1. The Mets have not clinched.
Okay. Thanks, Rudy. We'll be back.
20% of the women whom we surveyed would indicate that they had had one experience, at least one experience, of coerced intercourse.
Have you driven a Ford?
The Ford Taurus is really the top of the line, the best car I've ever owned. I like the appearance, I like the comfort, I like the handling of the Ford Taurus. Never driven a car that handled as easy. I think the Ford Taurus is just a step above everything that they've had on the market yet.
Test drive the affordable Ford Taurus wagon at your Ford dealer today.
I liked it. I bought it. I've been happy I did.
The time is now. Circuit City's September Super Sale. Spectacular savings. Just $298 for your choice of a 19-inch color TV from RCA, Magnavox, Zenith. All with remote control, all priced at just $298. The spectacular September Super Sale. Now at Circuit City. The intelligent choice.
As a toy expert, let me say a few words about Wal-Mart's Toy Fair. It's a blast!
Kids won't want to miss the excitement of Wal-Mart's huge toy fair now through Saturday. And parents won't want to miss the great savings on all the latest toys, like World of Wonders Teddy Ruxpin. It was $64.84. Now it's rolled back to just $57.87 every day. Don't miss all the fun at Wal-Mart's gigantic toy fair now through Saturday.
That's real savings. That's the Wal-Mart way.
One of the more surprising statistics about incidents of rape on college campuses is that 20% of all women raped are raped while they're on a date. Tonight, in part 2 of her series, Sex on Campus, Jill Willington reports on how co-eds are being warned.
College campuses have long been known for breeding romance. Students are at that age when dating is commonplace. But sometimes that date turns into a nightmare. It's called date or acquaintance rape.
We were surprised to find that about 20% of the women whom we surveyed would indicate that they had had one experience, at least one experience, of coerced intercourse. That is, intercourse that occurred against their will and without their consent.
Burkhardt says his research shows that freshman year is the most vulnerable because the younger women may not have experience in handling an aggressive male.
We just don't teach women how to be powerful and assertive, and we do expect women to be nice.
Steve Thompson has been teaching women how to be powerful and assertive in his sexual assault awareness course at Central Michigan University. Thompson spent years and interviewed thousands of victims and rapists before designing his popular class. He discovered up to 7 different rapist personalities. He says the date rapist is usually not very violent, but will escalate aggression to defeat the female.
In other words, I'm an extremely familiar acquaintance, whatever you want to call it. You say no, I attempt to force you. You slap me, I'll slap back and shake you. I will escalate just enough to get you to meet my demands.
Thompson does not recommend the woman resorting to violence if she feels threatened because it generally escalates, but...
What I recommend, when there is no other alternative, you either drive a thumb into the male's eye or crush a testicle. Neither one are very nice, but both of them are 100% incapacitating.
Being raped on a date can also be incapacitating, but Thompson says women should remember it's not their fault and work to prevent future attacks. I'm Jill Wellington reporting for NBC News.
And that's the scene at 10. Thanks for watching, and good night.